Hi everybody, welcome back to Tip Tuesday. So last week we talked a lot about different types of oils. I had a huge variety out here and we talked about the nutritional benefits of each, how you might use them, smoke point, and flavor. Today I promised that I would talk about walnut oil in particular and make a vinaigrette using it. That was something else that was high on everybody's list at the end of the year, was how to make a vinaigrette. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and focus on walnut oil. So if you remember from last week, and if you don't, no problem. If you want, you can go back in my IGTVs and look up last week's video. But quickly with walnut oil, one of the reasons I love this, a couple of reasons I love this. One is its flavor and its aroma. This company, Toranjal, I believe is how you say it, makes a delicious walnut oil. It is a roasted walnut oil, which means they roast the walnuts or toast the seeds and then press them and get the oil out. So you really get that rich walnut flavor and aroma, roasted flavor and aroma. That's one reason. It's just so delicious. The second reason is its nutritional profile. We talked about this last week. Just like walnuts, the oil is rich in polyunsaturated fats and rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So that's important for reducing your risk of heart disease, and decrease in inflammation. A lot of really good benefits from omega-3s, and walnut oil or walnuts is one of the places you can find those, other than of course seafood. But so a couple reasons why I really like it. Now with walnut oil, it is best used, it does not have a high smoke point, it's very low, so it's not a great oil to cook with. It is better for a drizzle on something at the end of cooking, or to make a vinaigrette or a marinade for. So that is what we're going to do today, is make a vinaigrette using walnut oil. All right, so how do you make a vinaigrette? Super easy, and I think this is something really everybody can do and should know the basics on how to do it. It's a simple ratio. It's 3 parts oil to 1 part acid. That's your ratio. And it can be juggled up and down a little bit. I prefer my vinaigrettes to be a little bit more have a little bit more of a bite, a little more acidic and less oily. So mine tend to be more towards the 2 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. So you can kind of mix and match and get the flavor profile that you like. But the basic ratio, 3 parts oil, 1 part acid. With the walnut oil, it has a really, really strong flavor. So if you buy it and smell it, it's really, really walnutty. It's also pretty expensive. So you probably don't want to make a dressing solely out of walnut oil. You probably want to mix it with another type of oil, like an olive oil or grapeseed oil. Today I'm going to mix mine with olive oil, just to kind of cut the flavor a little bit, and so I'm not using quite so much, to be perfectly honest. But I think it makes the blend makes a really nice flavor profile. Just a hint of walnut, and it's really nice. So we're going to use about a half a cup total, which will be about a 1/4 cup of each of the oils. Then I'm going to use a 100% pure cranberry juice to make this beautiful cranberry orange walnut vinaigrette. I had this, if you saw a few weeks ago, I roasted some beets in cranberry juice, which were delicious. And so I had some left over, and I thought, oh, it might make a really interesting dressing, and it's really good. So we're going to use cranberry juice, and we're going to use also some orange juice for the kind of my acidy ingredients. The cranberry juice is pure cranberry, so no sweetener added, not cranberry juice cocktail. Pure cranberry juice, so it's got a little bit of a bitter bite to it. It's a little more acidic than just a cranberry juice cocktail. So that is what we're going to do. Now, what you do is, I told you I was going to use about a 1/4 cup of each of these. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And a trick here, when you're measuring, using a measuring cup, a glass measuring cup like this, don't look down like that and say, oh, it's about a 1/4 cup. You need to get it eye level. So I'm a little shy. And for something like this, it's not a big deal, but if you're going for precision, there we go. All right, get it eye level, because it kind of caves down and you're not going to get a true measurement by looking over it or guessing. So always go down at eye level if you have a measuring cup like this with the measures only on the side. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of the walnut oil. There's a little bit of olive oil left in here. There we go. All right. So we're going to add those two together. All right. So there is my 1/2 cup. Close that before I forget. Oh, one more tip with the walnut oil. Don't leave it out on the counter. It will go rancid very quickly, just like nuts do. I keep my nuts in the freezer. I keep my walnut oil in the refrigerator. Keep it cold. It'll last a couple months that way. If you keep it on the counter, you're gonna get an off flavor really fast. So keep it in the fridge. All right. Okay, so we have a 1/2 cup of oil here. Now, I already measured out kind of a shy 1/4 cup of cranberry juice, and then I squeezed some of this. This is actually a blood orange, which I grabbed it out of the fridge. I didn't pay attention, but it will be really good, I guarantee you. I'm gonna add, there we go, perfect. 2 tablespoons of orange juice to that. And that will be ready to go. Then the other thing I did was I zested part of that orange, and I'm gonna add the zest to it. All right, next thing to do. Take your, in this measuring cup, if you have one of these, you don't have to scoot down. You can look over top because the measures are inside, and I love these cups. They're nice to have. So invest in one of those if you can. But what I'm gonna do is get my whisk and kind of very slowly whisk in my juice. And what I want it to do is, it's called emulsify. I'm going to pull that cranberry juice into the oil so that I don't end up with a separation, but I end up with this really pretty, there we go, really pretty pinkish almost color. Okay, now one more thing about vinaigrettes that I like, and a lot of people do, they tend, because you're using the acid and the oil, they can have a bite, and sometimes you need to kind of soften that out a little bit. And what helps is adding a sweetener. You can add honey, you could add granulated sugar. I've been using an agave nectar a lot recently for my dressings. you could use maple syrup, any kind of sweetener you like. You could use a sugar substitute if you need to, but something just to kind of cut the acid bite a little bit, and the sweetness does help. I like the agave because it doesn't have, for something like this, I don't want another flavor added like honey would add. And it's kind of a really nice mellow flavor. Granulated sugar is just too hard to work in. It just doesn't, you end up with the sugar granules kind of at the bottom. So I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of the agave and kind of work that in. Okay. If you don't have agave, again, regular sugar, you could make a simple syrup out of it too. So you could kind of melt the sugar in some water over the stove and make a simple syrup and add just a little bit to that. That would work as well. So there we go. Other thing, some pepper, like that. And if it needs it, you could add a little bit of salt. I'll taste it before I dress my salad and see what it tastes like. Now my salad. Here we go. So all this is, I will section the rest of this orange. If you remember from that last fall, I showed you how to section an orange. I have a half left, so I'll just slice it off and get the rind off and put the sections in there. And I think this kind of blood orange will look really pretty. I think this is a blood orange. I'll have to look. But it'll look really pretty with the beets. And then I'm gonna add some goat cheese as well. I already have some toasted walnuts, and I have my beets that I also did roasted in the cranberry juice. And we will be ready for dinner tonight. So that is your vinaigrette. 3 parts oil, approximately 1 part vinegar or acid. And that's your basic ratio. And again, mix it up. I did 2 parts to 1 part for this because I really want the juicy flavor. And I want the walnut oil to shine through. And there goes the dog. Sorry about that. Anyway, hush. Have a great day and look for this recipe on my blog. It'll be there in the morning. Have a great day.